The boy who did not want to work. There was a boy named John, and he never wanted to work. He was seen by his parents as a lazy child, much like Noye was viewed by his father. John liked to sit around and watch TV all day. A TV is a box that tells stories with many colorful drawings. These stories are not like typical stories that Ogankwo or his wives would tell to their children. They are often about other people, and they have no purpose but to entertain. John never did his schoolwork, even though his parents constantly disciplined him for his actions. His father would yell at him and confine him to his sleeping quarters for days on end. But nothing got through to John. It is not typical for a father to beat his child, like Ogankwo did, for disobedience regardless of the son's actions. That type of physical abuse is considered immoral to us. He dropped out of school because he never did his work, and decided that it was just much too much effort to leave his house. School is something that all Americans must attend while they are young. It is a place they go to learn about the world they live in. There are people there that teach kids many important things that will be taught to your children by the mother and father. They are kind of similar to the school that Noe attended, but they are viewed as necessary by our citizens, and they do not preach religion at most times. They are vital for the future success of all citizens. His parents warned him that his laziness would catch up with him if he did not change. They constantly reminded him with great wisdom that hard work never did anyone harm. John never listened, and in our culture it is seen as important for a child to make their own mistakes, so that they can learn. Therefore, his parents did not force the issue as strongly as Ogankwo did with Noe. His parents warned him that he would be kicked out of the house if he continued in his ways, but John did not believe them. He continued to neglect his duties. It is common in our society for a child to leave home at this age and start to fend for himself. Most times, however, this is a mutual agreement between the child and parents. When it is not a mutual decision, being kicked out is often called getting the boot, because you are sometimes literally kicked out. A child that leaves home may stay connected with his family, but he will live his own life. This would be similar to how a daughter is married off in Igbo society and goes to live with her husband's family, while still keeping in communication with her parents. As John's 18th birthday approached, he still denied that he would be kicked out, even though his parents promised he would. He did not prepare and continued to waste his life watching TV. The day after his birthday, he awoke to find all his things packed into his car, and his parents starting to push him out the door. A car is similar to the iron horse the white man brought, but bigger and with 4 wheels. John left home with very little money in his pocket because he did not prepare. He only had $40. A dollar is like your cowrie in that it is a way of paying for things. He finally started to realize what his parents meant by money doesn't grow on trees. John did not know what to do with himself for several days, so he just wandered around in confusion. He realized he would soon be out of money, and he must get a job. A job is something you do that benefits someone else, so they reward you with payment. John was a fat, lazy, uneducated person, and finding a job was difficult. America is not a community-based place, so when someone is in need of assistance, it is not provided by a neighbor like you are accustomed to. They are forced to fend for themselves and make it on their own. John had to look for many days until he finally found a job at McDonald's. McDonald's is a place someone can go and have someone else make food for them. All meals are not provided by a wife, as is customary in your society, and it is common for people to go out and get food that somebody else prepared. John worked hard at his job for a couple weeks, until one day he was fired for showing up late. Mistakes are not something that are easily forgiven. They must be punished, just as Ogankwo punished his wife for killing one of his trees. John is forced to live in a shelter for over a year. A shelter is a place where people without money can live with very basic accommodations. They will receive a minimum amount of food, but is not an idealistic way of life. Being forced to live in a shelter is similar to being exiled to live in the evil forest. Few survive, and it is not a pleasant experience. After 2 years had passed, and John was 20, his parents found him and brought him home. Although it is important for a child to learn to work for themselves, family comes first. His mom was happy to see him, even though she had kicked him out, because a mother's love knows no bounds. John came back a changed person. He had learned much and was no longer a lazy man. He was able to go back to school and get a successful job. Turns out that you do make your own destiny.
Nothing comes easy, but that's a fact. Nothing comes easy.